Hello everyone, I am Ejan May Perat and I'm going to discuss the levels of statutory duty. Statutory duties give a rise to criminal liability. There are three types or distinct levels of statutory duty. So, first, the absolute requirements, second, practicable requirements, and third, reasonably practicable requirements. So, in absolute requirements, the classic instance of an absolute duty is in Regulation 5 of the Provision of Use of Work Equipment Regulation 1992, or the POWER, which states every employer shall ensure the work equipment is to constructed or adapted as the suitable for the purpose for which it is used or provided. Absolute duties are qualified by the items shall or must. So in this case, the absolute requirements where the risk of injury of disease is inevitable, or if a safety requirements are not followed, a statutory duty may well be absolute. Second, practicable requirements. Practicable means more than physically possible and implies a higher duty of care than a duty qualified by the parties so far as is reasonably practicable. So in this requirements, a statutory requirement is qualified by the phrase so far as the practicable when it implies that if in the light of current knowledge and invention and in feasible to comply with the requirements, then irrespective of the cost sacrifice involved, such as requirements must be complied. Third, reasonably practicable requirements. Duty qualified by the phrase so far and reasonably practicable implies a lower or lesser level of duty than one qualified by so far as this practicable. Reasonable practicable is a narrower term than physically possible. So, reasonably practicable is a narrower term. Physically possible implies that that computation must be made in which the quantum of risk is placed on one side of the scale and the sacrifice involved in carrying out the measures or the necessary for averting the risk is placed on the other side. So, the reasonable man, the term reasonable can be found in section 7 of the HSW, that is in duty on employees to take the reasonable care for the safety of themselves and the other, including members of the public who may foreseeable be affected by their acts or omissions to work. The roles of the enforcing authorities. The enforcing authorities under the HSW are: first, the Health and Safety Executive, which is split into a number of specific inspectorates. For example, facilities, agriculture, nuclear, or the installations. Second, local authorities, principally through the environmental health departments. For certain matters, the fire authority. Actual enforcement is undertaken by inspectors appointed under the Act and authorized by a written warrant from their enforcing authority. The power of inspector under Section 20 of the HSWA, an inspector has the following powers. First, to enter premises at any reasonable time and where obstruction is unanticipated, to enlist the support of the police officer. Second, to make such examinations and investigations as may be necessary. Third, to direct the premises of any part such premises or anything therein shall remain undistracted for so long as are reasonably necessary for the purpose of any examination or investigation. Third, to make such measurements and photographs and make such recordings as they consider necessary for the purpose of any examination or investigation. So the fourth, to take samples of any articles or substances found in any premises and of the atmosphere in the vicinity of such premises. At last, to take possession of any article or substance, to detain this for long as is necessary. So this the powers of inspectors is after inspectors has completed of investigation or examine, they have found in section 2(8) in 8 and must give the employer similar information. So other that they have also to require or any person when may they have reasonable cause to believe to be able to give any information relevant to any examination or investigation to answer such question as the inspector thinks fit to ask and to give a declaration of the truth of their answers. Notices. Enforcing officers may serve two types of notice. So first, improvement notices. Second, prohibition notices. So I will discuss the improvement notices. Improvement notices is the notice must state which statutory provision the inspector believes has been contravened and the reason for his belief. It should also state a time limit within which the contravention should be reminded. If an inspector is of the opinion that a breach has or is likely to occur, they may serve an important notice on the employer or employee. Second, prohibition notices. So these notices where the inspector is of an opinion that a work activity involves or will involve a risk of a serious personal injury, they may serve a prohibition notice and or occupier of the premises or the person having control of the activity. Prosecution. A prosecution is frequently the outcome of failure to comply with an improvement or a prohibition notice. Conversely, an inspector may simply institute legal proceedings without serving a notice. So in this prosecution, cases are normally heard at magistrate's court, but there is also provision in the HSWA regarding indictments, much depends on the gravity of the offense. So that's all. Thank you for listening my discussion. Thank you and God bless.